How are you guys doing? You good? All right, well, my name is Gabe Zingaretti. I'm the CEO for Altada Technology Solutions. Very happy to be here today at the Enterprise AI Summit. And today I'll be talking about using artificial intelligence to manage NPL, non-performing loans. So it's a real applications that is very much needed. Without further ado, let me introduce you to Altada very quickly. We are a worldwide company. We're pushing over 100 employees worldwide. Our heart is Irish. Our home office is in Ireland, Cork. We have offices in London, Delhi, Malta, and then the East Coast and the West Coast. So we pride ourselves on a very open and differentiated workforce. We live and breathe artificial intelligence, from our DS and AI team to our co-founder and CEO, and I myself have done AI in the Bay Area 4 times, from single-layer neural networks to robotics, machine learning, and now deep learning in financial services. What we do is we help our customers transition into a technology environment using artificial intelligence. And the way that we do it, we read documents really well. To the core of our technology, that's what Altada does, right? We read documents really well. So when you think about financial services, and specifically asset management, contract intelligence, and due diligence, they're all different. They're different problems. They're tackled in different ways, but there is a commonality to it. And that commonality is you have to digest a ton of documents really quickly. And those documents is not really nice Word or PDFs. They've been digitized 10 years ago. The laws and the structures changes over time. So it's a problem. And those documents have to be consumed in a very short period of time because there is a lot of money on the line. So when you think about NPLs, right, non-performing loans, what is a non-performing loan? It's basically somebody has a mortgage and he can't pay anymore, right? So what the bank usually does, if he can't service it itself anymore, he sells it. So for example, if you have a mortgage that is worth, $1 million, and it's not performing, meaning it's not yielding the interest rate, the bank may sell it for, $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 to somebody else's, right? And kind of walk out of it, and the other entity will service the mortgage. Now, that is not an event that happens every now and then sporadically. It happens in packages, right? So a bank will pool, hundreds or, thousands of mortgages together, worth it hundreds of millions of dollars, if not more, and then tranche those out, and secondary banks or asset management will bid those off, right? And during that bidding process, they have to consume thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of documents really quickly so that that bid can be done properly, right? And the way that that problem is solved today is you just throw people at it. You just hire a bunch of people to read those documents and do data entry, and then eventually analytics are done afterwards, right? And again, that happens actually quite often. It's not, again, a sporadic event. It's very systematic, especially here in the United States. And to give you a tangible example is the COVID pandemic hit, let's call it Q1 2020 in the States. And a lot of mortgages went in furlough, right? Which means the bank stopped payments on those mortgages. However, we know by historical data that it takes about 3 to 3.5 years for the NPL trajectory to peak, and then eventually there has to be a resolution process, right, which is selling those NPLs and bidding them off, right? So when you think about it, we know today that if the pandemic hit in Q1 2020, by Q2 2023, there will have to be a resolution, and millions of pages of documents will have to be digested and consumed by either people reading a manila folder with 10 or 15 documents and 10, 15 pages each, or you can use our technology. So one example is a success story is Rota Partners, which is an alternative management entity based in Texas. They asked us to help them with their NPLs. And what we did is we offer our services and algorithms and allow them to consume a very large volume of documents into a short period of time, right? So they went to, 4 to 6 or 8 weeks down to a couple of days. And obviously they save costs, right? But that's a little bit of a short-sighted way to see it. Yes, we reduce time and we reduce cost. But when you think about you have hundreds of millions of dollars on the line waiting for a decision that is going to take 2 months, now you can make that decision in a couple of days. So that money, that asset can start working a lot quicker than if you do it by hand, right? The other thing to notice and to keep in mind is that humans are not perfect by any stretch of imaginations, right? So if I give you a manila folder with 10, 15 documents, 100 pages, and I'll tell you, hey, you got to extract all that data by hand, which, by the way, is what digitized 15 years ago, 15 times, and you have to put all that data into an Excel file or whatever database you have. Pretty quickly, the 3s becomes 8s, the 5s become 6, the decimal point moves, and then you have to do that 1,000 times a day, right? Our technology, while not perfect, it's consistent, morning, noon, and night. It will give you the same results at any given time, 24/7, 365. And that's what we pride ourselves to. So when you think about a loan file, will have a series of documents. Every document will have data that you have to extract. Nothing that you haven't heard before, right? Interest rates, signatures, address, originators, name, banks, whatever. Obviously, you can see how the data that needs to be extracted compared with the data that we have extracted is not 100%. But it doesn't have to be 100%. It has to be better than doing it by hand. So don't make perfect the enemy of good. This technology is good and it's helpful and it's been used today to MPL and digest those high volume of documents. Here is another success story, is another tier 1 asset management, 6,600 loan files, millions of pages of data that has to be extracted, digested, and again, with a really high, accuracy in the 90%, with a little bit of fine tuning, we got to 93%. But again, the point is not we got an algorithm that is 90 or 95% accurate or 100% sensitivity or specificity. It is effective in today's world. It's been used every day, and it is shrinking what it will take 2 months, weeks into hours, or maybe a couple of days, right? So it's extremely powerful. Another example, here it was more about document indexing. So every loan file will have a series of documents. And again, these documents are all, not really organized. Some pages are missing. And so here in an example where we went and indexed those documents so that the tier 1 US bank had a good sense of what was in those documents. Again, going from processes that take hours, days, you name it, and a lot of people, to something that took only 5 minutes, right? So very powerful. Even if you have to go back and fine-tune the results a little bit, you're dealing with, I spent 5 minutes getting the bulk of the data, and now I got to do a little bit of tuning, versus I spent 2 months doing that work, and now I have to go and reproof it, right? A lot more powerful. So how it's done? Well, there is a lot of algorithms behind the hood, but it usually starts with an ingestion of data. We have obviously OCR, NLP, and then ML. That spits out results. There is a little bit of human in the loop to proof at the end of it. And the way that we present our results can be done either by a simple structured data, CSV, database, whatever you like to use. Also, we have an option where the results are presented as an overlay on the documents, and they can be visual review of what did they have extracted, is the number accurate, and we call that proofing. So options on how we present our results to our customers, and that's really up to them. So in summary, our technology, brings speed, bring accuracy. but what these asset managements are looking for is really using the technology to increase their productivity. Again, there is a lot of money on the line that has to move very quickly and ultimately increase the efficiency. Thank you.